we're talking to this year's City Law Live keynote speaker, Mark Dean, a litigation partner at Edwards Wildman in the field of media, telecoms and so on. Mark, you mentioned motivation as a big factor in the success of applicants who want to become city solicitors. Just for viewers and LCN readers, what's your personal motivation? What drove you into commercial law and keeps you there?
If I'm to be absolutely honest, I have a sister who's 4 years older, and she one day announced that she wanted to go into medicine. And I figured that if she wanted to be in medicine, the motivation might be that I should be there to help her out if she got into trouble. But joking one side, I mean, for me, I like helping clients with problems. I like being at the forefront of the client's business, and that probably brings me more into the tech space. I like to be there with the clients as they're trying to develop and look for new solutions in their businesses and really support them. And that really motivates me in trying to find those solutions and to be a lawyer.
For any viewer or applicant with a real interest in commercial law, but also more specifically in your field of, with cutting edge media and new technologies, what advice would you give to those candidates to really pursue that area?
The trouble or the area that we always really struggle with as lawyers is to make old laws relevant to new technologies. We can only ever aspire to be at the forefront of legislating for new technologies. And indeed, we should never really try to prescribe precisely the way in which technology should develop. Because after all, we are lawyers, we're not technologists. So very much part of what our role is to look at the way in which we can implement old laws to deal with new technical problems. And that's very important. Because actually, when you look at some of the key pieces of legislation which are underpinning certain of the big technical issues of our time, like cyber hacking, like data breach, these are very old laws. The Computer Misuse Act of 1990, the Data Protection Act 1998. Even though those are about to be updated or will be updated in the next couple of years, the enabling legislation is still necessarily going to be out of date. So we have to look at how we can bring that to the fore, and that's what makes it very interesting as being a technology lawyer. There is the other aspect of it as well, which is that we're dealing with essentially gadgets and boys' toys, and so actually if you have a passion for that type of work as well, that's always very good. But lawyers are very well disposed to trying to deal with these issues. Even if we go back to the 1920s, 1930s, if Mrs. Donahue had bought her own bottle of ginger beer, we wouldn't have needed to have had the whole law of tort negligence developing. She could have dealt with it as a contract issue.
A lot of candidates see the partner interview stage of the application process as quite intimidating. If you were interviewing a candidate, what kind of conversations would you be expecting to have? Would you, like we've just done, talk about this particular area and the candidate's interest in that? Is it as scary as it sounds?
What's most important is that a candidate comes across as being genuine. And actually, if people have a passion for a particular area of law or a particular sector or a particular industry, that passion will come through, and it will be quite obvious that they are genuinely interested in it. The most important thing for any candidate is that they come across as being genuine, and we get to see a little insight into themselves and who they are and what makes them tick. What is their passion? What is their motivation for wanting to do law? The worst thing that can happen is a candidate can come to us and they can try to overreach their position in terms of where their passions really lie, or they come across as being too prepared in a way. There's a very fine balance between coming across as being confident and coming across as being arrogant, and I'd always urge everyone to go on the underside of confidence, even if it comes across as being slightly nervous. We are, after all, we're all human, and it's to be expected that people will be nervous at an interview stage.
Really great insight and advice, Mark Dean. That's very much appreciated. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.